What's new, 802? I'm Becca Hammond, and you're listening to Vermont Talks. Vermont Talks may include graphic or explicit content. Listener discretion is advised. On this week's episode, we have Alexa Tetrault. Alexa won Lake Champlain International's Lady of the Lake 2022. She works on fishing projects and activities for young women and kids in the community, and she owns a marketing firm called Luna Knows, and she owns a small farm. Alexa, welcome on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I know that we've been trying to get this. So for backstory, we've tried to make this work for a while. And then last week we did start and we had such a good flow. And then there was like some technical difficulties.
The first time.
So now we're back. But I'm so excited. This is my first podcast. I've actually done radio shows and interviews, but never a podcast.
This is a special
This is honestly
honor.
less pressure than like a video interview.
Yes.
So I don't mind it.
Yes, I love the podcast aspect because I don't feel as self-conscious. I also don't listen to my own voice, though. Once it goes out, I'm done.
Well, I'm not wearing the headphones, so I cannot hear my voice because I don't like to listen to my own voice.
See, that's always an option. Don't worry if you don't want to listen to yourself. You can still come on Vermont Talks. It's okay. It's okay.
And that's our pitch.
So, yeah, seriously, thank you, Alexa, for coming back to my apartment so that we can re-record this interview.
No problem.
Let's start once again, because we've already had little bits of this conversation. Where are you from?
I was born and raised in New Rochelle, New York, which is a small city outside of New York City in Westchester County. So it's really close to the Bronx in terms of the city borough area, but you get the best of both worlds because you do have like the more suburb vibe with still only being a short ride to New York City. And then I was looking at colleges and stumbled upon Champlain, and it ended up working out and went to college here. And I still live in Vermont and I've never left. And I love it here. So I don't plan on ever leaving at this point.
It is the best place. I also am never leaving.
Yeah, there's no point. I like having the option to visit the city. It's nice.
Yes.
But I'm always done after like 48 hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. When I have to walk through like a major city, it's an anxiety shock. Like, oh my God, there's people. I can't make eye contact. That's really hard.
Yes.
So Lake Champlain Internationals, which is a phrase I had to really work on. Lake Champlain Internationals.
So a lot of people call it the LCI. I say Lake Champlain International when I'm talking to people that wouldn't know what LCI meant, which
I've heard LCI.
A lot of people. But if you're from around here, you might have heard of the LCI. It's a organization that does a yearly derby over Father's Day weekend.
Okay.
And they do a lot of events in the area.
Yeah.
And they sponsor a lot of things and programs. And they are, I'm pretty sure, one of the only derby that actually has a female division.
Oh, really?
I know, which I've placed in other derbies that didn't have a female division, but it's kind of nice to have that friendly, competitive vibe with females too. So I really like that this derby includes that, but it's been a goal of mine since 2018 to win it. Ever since I started dating my now husband, I was like, no, I'm going to be Lady of the Lake. And I've been so determined every year. So finally winning it was like, I'm beaming at the, like, thinking about it. Like,
seriously
it makes
smiling.
me so happy that like I actually worked really hard for this and accomplished it. It meant a lot to me. So it's been really cool.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to me that you can catch a fish that is giant. I can't catch fish.
Well, I feel like I always surprise people when they like learn that about me because you guys can't see me, but I'm like 5'1" and this like petite little blonde girl. I don't probably look like someone that would want to go fishing or love it, but I also was raised fishing a lot. I personally have never hunted, but that's a big thing in my family growing up as well. I am way too much of a softie and an animal lover. Not that people that don't hunt aren't. Like, I still eat meat. I kind of am ignorant in the way that I just don't want to know anything about how that happens for myself. So I don't think I'll ever hunt, but fishing is okay. We release, especially out of Lake Champlain. It's not the cleanest, especially in recent years. We're hoping that changes soon. But we don't keep a lot of fish out of here, so we release, I would say 98.5% of them.
Yeah, that's it's great for everybody, right? And it's great for the fish. Fish gets to go make more fish.
Yeah, yep. So that's kind of but that's how my husband has always been. Growing up, I would go trout fishing with my grandfather in the Catskills a lot. And he owns, well, it's still in the family, but he has passed away a few years ago. But he owns a lot of land in the Catskill Mountains where he would hunt, and he had a trout pond that he would stock himself. So it'd be really fun to kind of like raise the fish and like learn everything about them. And then eventually you do catch them and eat them, but it's something that you've like, you know where it's coming from.
It's almost like a fish farm.
Cool. Yeah, it pretty much was. So that was really cool. And the same with like the deer, like he would plant things like that he knew that they would eat all spring and summer. And then in the fall he would hunt them. So it's kind of like, you know where it's coming from, and it's very primitive. But even with gardening, which, you know, the last time I was here, I was drawn to your little
my mini garden.
Apartment garden, but I love it. It's so cool. I want something like that for winter for my herbs. But growing up, my other grandfather didn't hunt, my mom's dad, but he was such a big gardener that he was like on the news in New Rochelle multiple times for his tomatoes and things. Made
like
all of his own sauce.
Award-winning tomatoes.
Yeah.
Nice.
He would have like the picture in the newspaper. Actually, I was like 8 months old, and there's like these tomatoes that are as big as me around me, and that was
That's
like
amazing.
I think for scale, but so
that's a great scale.
I've always grown up around people that really loved the Vermont lifestyle, but in New York.
Right, living off the land.
Being like Italian, they just wanted their own garden and did their own wine and their own sauce.
It tastes way better.
It does taste way better. I don't like jarred sauce from the store. And when I went to college, so many people thought it was like a high maintenance thing. And it's not really that. It's just that you've never had anything different.
Right.
So, like, yeah, I'll eat it, but it's not
the same.
It's not like my grandma's Sunday sauce, like, that we made together with, like, the tomatoes from her garden. It's just different.
Yeah, entirely. It's so, they put a lot of salt and seasoning and stuff and in preservatives.
It's not the same.
It's just not the same.
Consistency. And for me, I love, like, I now on Sundays, not really during the summer, but in the winter, I always am like on a Sunday making a sauce, and then we'll have it for the week or something. But it's just like a little tradition that I try to carry on, even being all the way in Vermont and not in New York anymore. But yeah, so basically,
the homestead lifestyle.
Yeah, homestead lifestyle is kind of where I have come from, and what, especially since COVID, like, we are trying to do at our house. It's a long road. We aren't nearly like, oh, we eat everything. We don't have enough to eat.
Right. Oh, that's a whole process of learning.
We have and plenty of eggs, which I'm not the biggest egg person, as I was telling you, which is hilarious. Like, I hate the smell of cooking eggs, which is funny. But that's like, I have chickens.
Do you like to bake
them.
though?
I love to bake, and I make pasta, or like we'll make bread, and there's plenty of things you can use them for, especially like once it's fall. During the summer, I find myself literally giving them away because I just don't want to bake and I can't eat them all.
Well, thank you so much for the eggs. The eggs are really good, by the way.
So. She had 2 and she said they were great.
They are amazing. You can't compare. Like,
I want to make labels that say Little Walkies, Farm Fresh Eggs, Walkers, my daughter. But I always wanted to have like my own branded egg cartons and stuff.
You
so
should definitely do that.
No, I should do that during the winter. During the summer, I never have like the time for all of these things.
Yes, well, that's Vermont. That's the whole homestead lifestyle. You got to get it done in the summer, and then in the winter, you can't get it done because it's all snowy.
Yeah, I know. So you just kind of do all the other projects.
Right, then you can brand your eggs.
For sure. Yeah. Or get like the little stamps. Like
oh my God.
Have.
Yes, 100%.
Wait, I just got that idea.
That's amazing. You should get the little egg stamps. See, this great idea. We're coming up with the gold.
I know, yeah. TM.
So what kind of fish did you catch to become Lady of the Lake?
So I caught 2 smallmouth bass on... I'm just going to tell you the whole story.
Tell me the whole story.
Okay, so we normally target walleye. That's like our number one fish. It's a challenging fish to catch. They're beautiful. They're a lot of fun to catch. They're a white fish. They're great to eat if you have the right size. A lot of like the bigger ones that we catch, we always let go because they're honestly old and they're so big that compare it to like when you grow a zucchini, like, and it gets too big and it's not as delicious anymore because it's so big and seedy and weird.
Yep.
Yeah. But what I caught in this derby, which this was the coldest, worst weather derby of all time. So a lot of people, like we were still fishing it. A lot of people were, but it was more like the die-hard fishermen, not like the ones that are like, oh, it's a beautiful weekend, I'm going to fish this derby. It was horrible weather. And I caught a sheep's head, which is, I'll show you a picture after, but it's like this big, huge, like bottom-dwelling fish.
Cool. Very cool. Where'd you catch it?
In a river, which I'm not going to tell you where.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you don't have to give me the secrets.
In a river.
Definitely don't want your secrets.
We went to weigh it in, and it actually, like, didn't, like, it was good, but it wasn't good enough. So that was kind of a bummer.
That's so interesting. I've never heard, like, there's giant bottom-dwelling fish in the rivers.
You don't want to know. I have so many people that I'll show them something I caught, and they're like,
how big was this thing? Do you remember how much it weighed?
It was almost 12 pounds. And
right, and like fish get huge when they're 12 pounds.
I think it was, like, I'm going off the top of my head, I think it was like 28 to 30 inches long. Like, it was as big as like most of my body.
Yeah, a 30-inch long fish is significant.
Huge. It was a lot.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
In a river.
In a river.
I thought you were going to say you caught it in Champlain, off.
Yeah, so that one was in the river, but because it's a river that goes into Lake Champlain, you can still fish it in the Derby.
Got it.
And then the winning fish were caught in the lake.
Got it.
So then the last day, which you don't even have a full day to fish, so we were kind of like up and at 'em. The last day was the nicest day of the whole thing, and I caught one smallmouth bass and weighed it, measured it. It was like, oh my God, I will be on the board if like I get this one. And within 5 minutes, my other rod went off, and then I had 2, and they were pretty comparable sizes. And I weighed them in and
nice
won.
How big? Could you remember?
Yeah, they were about 20. I've caught bigger bass, to be honest, but they were big enough to win Lady of the Lake. They were, I think one was a little bigger. One was like 21 inches, and one was like almost 20. So like the size of like the length of like a newborn child. Like that, I only think that because my daughter was 21 inches and the fish was 21.
Makes sense.
So like that's a weird comparison, but about the length of a newborn babe. And the weight was under 5, but it was about 5. So
it's a long fish.
It was fun. And they have a good fight too. Like they really yeah, it's a lot of fun to reel them in. And then you basically get there as fast as you can because you want them to be alive and like happy and full of life. And they actually, it's kind of funny, like lose weight the longer you don't weigh them in because they like poop and stuff. So it
right. Well, yeah, they're
for real,
not eating.
Like
yeah,
and they get
sense.
smaller. So and you don't want to like stress them out too much. I like a lot of people don't care, but I really try to like be quick about it, keep them happy. And we weighed them in, I mean, they don't tell you like when you're weighing it in, but they update the stats and you can look, which they don't update the women's stats as often as they update everyone else's, but maybe next year. So I was going off of the regular board and pretty much guessing the names to like know, like, okay, I think this is a man, or like, I think this is a woman. There were a few people that I honestly like looked up on Facebook to be like, is this a girl or boy? Just to know if they were on my board or not. So I had kind of a good idea, but I wasn't like, oh, I won. I didn't think I did. So I was shocked when I found out, and really happy, and then had like the whole award ceremony and all of that fun
Super
stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
So it was really cool. And I mean, the best part was that like my daughter was really proud of me, and
Oh, I'm sure.
that's awesome. And my husband was proud of me, and it's something we really bond over and we do together. So it's a lot of fun for us as a family.
Cool. So baby comes out on boat with you?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. She was out with us yesterday because it's been the last few days have been no wind and really nice out. So she came out with us yesterday, but she's so funny because we ask her, like, what do you want to catch? And she always wants to catch a small fish. She's like, I want to catch the smallest bass. It's like, oh, okay. Like, bar low.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense. She can lift the small
she's
fish.
Like, I want to catch a baby fish. I'm like, okay. I don't, but sure.
Right. Yeah. That's so cute, though. That's about the size fish that I catch. I was thinking that you're talking about how big these fish are. I'm like, I might have caught a fish that was 6 inches long. Maybe.
I'm sure you probably have.
It was a very small, probably a rainbow trout.
Ooh, but those are, I mean, a small rainbow trout is like better than a small bass. Okay, so that's another thing, is that depending what type of fish you catch, you get more points.
Oh, really?
So, like,
interesting.
The more prized they think it is. Like, if you get a brown, like a salmon that's like smaller than the bass I got, you would get a lot of points.
Interesting. Because there's not a lot of salmon in the lake, I'm guessing.
Which it's really interesting. I mean, you don't know. Like, it took me a few years to fully understand all the rules, and there's so many different ways you can win. Like, you can go by points, so you can try to get like every category. Which is kind of what I was trying to do. There's also like Fish and Wildlife. I wish they did more that included women and children, but they do a lot of programs to encourage people to fish. Like, they do this Master Angler program.
Yep.
That my husband and I do, where it's like you have to get every species.
Oh, cool.
And enter it. And then you get like a certificate and a pin for like getting every species. And they have cool programs. So there's always some way that you can be involved too, which is cool. But yeah, Lady of the Lake was awesome. I mean, it's fun that I won it, but it's also like now I have the pressure to win it again. So that kind of
don't put too much pressure.
That's what you
on
don't
it.
know me.
It's fun though, right?
I'm already like, oh God, I gotta win it again.
Well, I'm sure if you set your mind to it, and apparently you have secret fishing spots. So I mean.
It's hard because with social media, so many people will like zoom in and like try to guess where you are. And I mean,
oh yeah,
sometimes they're right, but it's kind of funny how, like, you know how small Vermont is, that in fishing.
Oh yeah, if you're
it's even smaller
in Franklin County, those guys know that coastline. They're gonna be
I'll like post a picture and they'll be like, you were here. And it's like, how do you even know that? That is so bizarre to me.
Right. But right, because there's like a sliver of
there's like a log cabin like to the left or something. Right. And they're like, I know that chimney. It's kind of wild. But so I mean, I also don't like go on the water and catch a fish and post it. Like, I'm also a marketer, so I like schedule things out. Like, I have a system. I'm not like, oh, I just caught this, I'm going to post it. I do care about like, where am I? Like, is it the time of year that I want people to know? Like, I do think about all of that at this point. I didn't used to, but it just kind of comes with the territory of fishing.
Territory of fishing, but also when you're posting on social media, you've got a whole bunch of followers.
Yeah, so I have a lot of followers, which I'm also like really cautious about what I post. And
Yeah,
where
stay
I am.
safe. Seriously.
Yeah, no, I don't. I never post real time. Like, even if I'm on a dog walk, like, I always post it once I'm home and stuff. I never post real time, never have license plates, never have addresses, never have a P.O. box. Don't ever, yeah.
Right.
Any of that
Right.
stuff, you have to be careful. I mean,
Yeah, even if you don't have a zillion followers, seriously, if you're
Yeah.
listening and you're a woman, please, dear God, just take care of yourself
Yeah, it's
online.
something that-
easy to fall into a mess. Very easy.
for real. And it's something that, like, even if I see someone like post at their house and they're like cars in the back, they're like, I am the person that I just notice all of these things and I'll be like, you just want to be careful, like your license plate isn't that or something. And I try to be really cautious and aware.
Right. But it's super awesome that you have so many followers.
It's fun. It's cool. You get some fun opportunities and partnerships and collaborations and things. Sometimes there is a lot of like pressure to keep posting and stuff, and sometimes I'm just like not into it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a very social person, but I'm also like, I love to sit by myself and read and like not look at my phone for a long time. And
Right.
so it's interesting to have a lot of followers, but also be like known for something that's like having an outdoors lifestyle where you are kind of like, I rarely have service when I'm actually fishing and things like that.
Right.
So it's an interesting dynamic.
Well, it's interesting because you're making a brand, like and especially the way you're talking about it.
It's very
it's not
funny.
just like, this is my personal social media.
Yeah.
You're being very careful about it and how you're presenting yourself.
Yeah, it's very unintentional how it happened, but I just started fishing more and just even sharing like hikes with my dog and like everything we did daily, and it just kind of caught on and led to opportunities with a lot of fishing brands and even local Vermont brands. But it's been really fun, and it's cool when people, like women, message me and they're like, "You're my role model. Like, I want to go fishing, but like also wear pink bibs and not care." And like, then do it. Like,
oh, seriously,
you have to just not care. Like, so many people probably think I'm a joke, and I don't care. Like,
it's Vermont though. No, like I grew up on dairy farm, right?
Yeah,
in Franklin County. There's a serious like divide. If your parents did not bring you hunting and you're a girl, the men are not going to bring you hunting.
Yeah. No.
It's same with fishing. It's like, if I wasn't
really
raised into fishing and didn't like have a guy that was going to be into it, like there's definitely like a men do these things and they don't welcome the women in certain areas. So
for sure,
like,
I've
being
also
a woman fishing is
it's
nice to see.
It's
100% intimidating
to get more into it if you don't have someone kind of guiding you.
Yeah.
Which I did, so I can't speak to that part, but going out on my own without my husband is always kind of funny because like, I know what I'm doing, but people just kind of assume you don't.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But
and I do love that in a way. I love being underestimated.
Right.
Because then it's kind of motivation.
Oh yeah, I could see people underestimating you. Like, you go out with a boat and men are like, what's this chick doing?
Oh, yeah. Or even just like like anything. They just assume like I'm not gonna know what I'm doing.
Right. Well, it's great that
it's a fun challenge.
Sharing what you're sharing with so many people, and it's nice to hear like you being a role model, because that's it. If you encourage other girls, like, it's okay, go fish.
And it's not like, I don't know, it's not like a competitive thing, because like I'm also releasing my fish, so I'm hoping someone else catches them and does the same thing, and I want women to get out there and
not being intimidated, like it's okay, and like,
well, it's kind of like where to start, and I see why it's intimidating.
Yeah, like seriously, women fishing programs, I could see a lot of women being interested. If it was like, it's just the girls, we're just gonna do a beginner's fishing course and we're gonna go out and, learn together. I could see that being a program people would be into in Vermont.
That's kind of part of winning Lady of the Lake, and being a part of that is working on some programs and things to help get women and kids into fishing, there was an event this summer that was pretty basic, and it was on gear. So like, what do you need for fishing? Even like safety gear, like first aid kit and things like that, and how to be prepared for weather. But I'm excited almost more for fall and winter because I'm so busy in summer to do more programs for fall and winter. Like I know that we're doing some ice fishing programs, which there's a lot of, I'm still learning myself, but there's a lot of like safety things with ice fishing too. But it's also really fun. Like it's one of my favorite types of fishing. People think I'm crazy when I say that, but it's so cool to like be standing like on the lake that you're normally on a boat in, and like catch the same fish, but like you have to do it in a different way. And I love that. And I love how like the winter here is just so, it's cold, but it's so beautiful. Like when you're out on the lake, it's literally like you hear echoes of yourself, and like no one's around. It's so much fun. As long as like you have a shanty, hopefully.
Right.
Like,
oh yeah.
Otherwise,
the
you're
safety
be
gear.
Really,
Right.
Yeah. I was like, I'm saying, oh, I love it so much. I do have a shanty, so like that helps. But we make like a whole day out of it. The dogs love it. It's so much fun to bring friends, and we just listen to like podcasts and
Nice.
hang out and fish all day.
That's amazing. Now this all so good. I love hearing about this kind of thing. Like, and I wasn't fully expecting you. This always is interesting when I talk to people during these interviews, because I wasn't expecting you to be like, yeah, like other women are reaching out. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That makes so much sense to me when you said that. All of a sudden,
I've made a lot of
clicked.
friends like through social media and my fishing. Like not only collaborations and opportunities, but just like women that want to hang out and like don't have someone to fish with. And
that makes really a lot of sense. Too. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's funny because there's a lot of things I've always wanted to do. One of the things I really want to do archery, and it's just such a weird thing.
Yeah.
I have that anxiety. I'm a little uncomfortable.
Archery, but I used to I only did target. Like I never went after like hunting wise, but I did a lot of target practice. And my best friend from growing up went to summer camp with me, and I was the like archery champion of like, I don't know what summer it was, but we were like 12. So like early camp. 2000s, but yeah, I was the archery champion of camp. And I remember our counselors were from Norway. They were from somewhere with amazing accents. And I remember our archery director was this guy that reminded everyone of like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he was like, she is the archery champion. And we all were like, this is amazing. Please say that again. Like,
that's great.
I just wanted to hear it every day.
Well, that's the kind of thing. Like if you don't get that when you're young, and it's not something that like, people would teach like, me.
Go and try it.
I have to specifically go like pay someone for a lesson. And I've had weird experiences doing that to the point where I'm like,
yeah,
I really wish I knew a woman who knew how to do this sort of thing, who I could be friends with. Yeah. It would be less anxiety inducing to go start doing those hobbies.
Just, like, hanging out and doing it. Yeah.
Right. Now, women breaking through glass doors, glass boats, catch fish.
Glass ice.
Glass ice. Oh, don't do that.
Yeah, don't break the ice.
Yeah, don't not the boat either, but you know.
Yeah.
So, okay, tell me about Luna Knows.
So, during COVID, I was laid off. I was a new mom. I had a lot of social media marketing experience and decided to just launch my own LLC. And I call it Luna Knows because my dog is named Luna. And I always say, like, Luna knows because she just is a chocolate lab with these, like, big knowing eyes.
She looks at
like
you
a phrase.
And she knows.
It's a phrase, and I just say Luna Knows. So I was like, oh, Luna Knows marketing. It just kind of came like that, as random as that is. And
it's a good name.
It's been fun. It's been good because I can literally do whatever I want. So now I do have, like, a paid advertising job with an agency at this moment, but I'm doing my own stuff on the side and have a few clients, and I can pick whoever I want. I've learned, like, I have a 2-month like trial period, so I can also see like if it's a good fit and how it's working and if I like it.
Right.
So it's really nice to just be so flexible with myself. And I mean, I'm hoping that eventually I just do that on my own full time and don't have my paid advertising job. But I also like to buy a lot of fishing things and go on
Which
trips and
makes sense.
stuff, and that costs money. So yeah, being kind of low key about it, also because a lot of small businesses in Vermont, like, they are great and want you to do their marketing, but they don't have like huge budgets for it.
Right.
So a lot of the businesses I work with are ones that like I love and use. So we almost, like, a lot of them, I'll like get product as a form of pay, like things like that.
Right.
So it's kind of cool being in Vermont and doing that as well. But I've had so much fun, and I'm meeting so many great people, and like have went to some really cool events and talks, like Vermont Womenpreneurs. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah,
They do
I think
a lot
I
of
saw
events,
something
and I'm on like
one
their
of your-
email list and stuff.
Yeah.
So I haven't like exclusively done things with them, but I've been to a bunch of their events, and I'm like in their group, and that's been really cool just to like get connected with other women. And yeah, it's going great. I love doing social media, and I love doing it for all kinds of like brands. And I like to have, like, right now I have a hard cidery, a restaurant,
Nice.
and then like a beauty salon, which is fun because it's like 3 very different tones and brands that I can work with.
How does that work if you were looking for a client?
Yeah.
How does that work in terms of like, okay, I own a small business,
Yeah.
like a boutique, something like that.
Um,
Do they send you pictures? Like, I honestly don't know how that works.
So it kind of depends on like what our agreement is and our like package level. I do photo and video if they want me to, but a lot of the time, like, I am not a professional photographer by any means, so I'll have recommendations for them, or a lot of the time they'll have content, they just don't have the time or means to like share
Right.
all of it.
Right.
And that is a lot of the time where I come in, where I kind of develop the whole strategy with them. I do start out with like a free consultation call just to gauge what they're looking for.
Yep.
And how much time they would need, how developed of the business they are. And a lot of the time it turns into like monthly calls on reporting. I run their social media channels. Sometimes they'll have email marketing. They're all kind of different in what they need, but it's normally pretty fun and pretty laid back. Like, I love going into the businesses I work with and just like even shooting content, asking them like what's new, what are they excited about for like the next few months. And a lot of them are really creative too with their events and ideas. So it's cool to help guide them on, because a lot of business owners have these great ideas, they just don't have the time to execute them.
Right.
So it's really cool to be the person that is like, all right, I'm going to help you make this happen. Like, I know that like you have this great idea and you just simply do not have the time among running your business.
Doing marketing is a huge amount of work to do it properly.
It is.
And there's like a whole scheduling thing, and the times
Yes.
are really weird when they say, oh yeah, this is the best time to post on Instagram. It's like a really
It
random
changes.
time. Yeah.
And it always changes too. And you just kind
so
of
easy to
learn.
forget, right? Like if you're trying to just
Well,
live
and
a
it's,
life.
like, based on your industry and stuff too. The insights on Instagram are actually really helpful with that, which a lot of people probably don't look at them that often, but they do update pretty often and give you a really good idea of when your followers are online and where they are and what they like. So that's pretty cool that they give you that option and information,
Right.
because they don't have to. But that helps if you're trying, like, I always guide when I'm on a consultation call with people, like, so what are your insights currently like? Like, who's looking at your stuff? What are the demographics? Where are they located? Because that does help the whole strategy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, there's so much to it. But yeah, it's definitely a lot if you're trying to, like, especially small side business type people.
Yeah.
You work full-time job trying to do social media marketing, like
It's
it's
a
so
full-time-
hard.
It's a full-time other job, honestly. Like, yeah, it's
right. If
and,
you're
like,
gonna
running
do
my
it
own stuff,
like
it's a lot.
correctly, like that's it. You're gonna be looking at
It's a lot of monthly planning.
the data, the
Yeah.
planning, the thinking about how you want to present yourself. Because that's the other thing, like the artsy side of it, just the images. and planning your wall or whatever they call it on Instagram,
that
whole thing, so that it looks aesthetically how you want your brand to be.
Yeah.
There's so much to that. And man, that stuff just exhausts me. And like, personally for me, because, I'm social media marketing for Vermont Talks and my other business, like I posted a podcast I posted last week and they flagged my account for nudity and I can't do anything. And it was literally black background with white text on it. And my account has been restricted for 3 days and I can do nothing. And this is the third time that their AI filter has accosted my business with nonsense. So, but I appreciate how hard social media is, though.
Well, and because I know people, which is like my biggest fear, that like their account just goes away.
Oh, that happened. Yeah, that happened to my first Vermont Talks account. It just disappeared, and I can't sign into it, and it just says like error, like no longer exists. Like
that's terrible.
I've had the worst social media marketing experience for Vermont Talks. I still feel bad because I don't know what happened to my followers if they ever found the podcast again. I hope they did. I'm sorry.
For podcasting, you have other. We'll talk offline.
I hope. I hope they were following, right? Like social media is insane.
Yeah.
So
with podcasting, I think they get really strict and weird. So you might have some other options, but
right. Yeah. So seriously, if you are a person like me who wants to cry when you think about trying to market on social media,
that's the one. Yeah,
it sounds like you should talk to Alexa because you know what you're doing.
My paid advertising job, like Google ads and Bing ads, that sometimes makes me want to cry just because it's like,
well, the amazing thing,
so creepy,
right? But
it's also like such a huge budget.
I agree.
You care so much.
I agree that it's creepy, and I write software for a living for a website.
We know it's creepy, but we do it.
But social media is amazing because it's so insanely exponentially powerful in a way that Google Ads is not quite the same. Because if you hit that fire, like if you hit the viral video on social media, it's free and it's insane. And like that is not something you can pay Google to do for you. Human beings interacting and like hitting that sweet spot where you mean something to people. Like that's the power of social media. So like there's this funny, like I know Google ads are like really powerful and everything, but like social media has this weird magic to it that it's just so cool. So if you can do it well, like props to you, seriously.
It's not easy. Well, and it's funny because there's been a few times where I've made videos or things and I'm like, I work so hard on it and then it gets like no views or something. And then there's some, like it happened a few days ago. I put up this like half effort video of like me holding a chicken saying that people that take care of chickens are technically chicken tenders. And that got like almost 20,000 views.
That's amazing.
Like a bunch of likes.
That's really funny.
And I did like some really informative long video of like, this is what I wear spring fishing, like down to like the bibs and the socks and everything. Right. And that was like struggling. And it was so informative and like what they tell you, like, oh, you should post things where you're teaching someone or like 5 things that you need to know. No, honestly, it doesn't even matter. Just
the quick little
whatever
funny ones.
And like the most random.
Right.
Like when you don't think about it at all is when it works.
The slog method is what I kind of refer to the make content that, the how-to guides. The slog is like a really bad way to reach a lot of people quickly because a very few amount of people are looking for that specific thing that you're trying to teach them at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. But it's kind of, there's like a fine line between you want to have some content that looks like you put effort in it and planned it out, even for showing. Like if I'm going to send a video to a brand I want to work with, I'm going to send that video over like the chicken tenders video, like, so you kind of have to have both, but it's just funny.
I love the chicken tenders. That's like the cutest little phrase.
Literally chicken tenders.
So Alexa, please list your social medias and your website and anything else that you want people to know about you.
Okay.
In terms of finding you online.
Pimp myself out. So I have my Instagram is Alexa Tetrault Outdoors. I do try to keep all of my social consistent. So you'll find Alexa Tetrault Outdoors on Facebook. That's my public page. I have like a private Facebook profile, but unless I actually know you, I'm probably not going to accept you. And I have a Alexa Tetrault Outdoors on TikTok. We do have a small YouTube for now, but that's Vermont Fishing Family because we have like all kinds of things on there. And yeah, I think that's all my socials. I mean, I'm on LinkedIn and all of those, but like that doesn't really matter.
And Luna, did you say Luna?
Yeah,
knows
so
website?
I have lunaknowsmarketing.com is my business website. There's a form there if you do want to inquire about any marketing opportunities. There's an about page, there's package listings, what I offer as services, and then I have a blog website that's alexadevivo.com. DeVivo is my maiden name, which I got married in 2020. So, but I just own that name, so that's why it's Alexa DeVivo. But that's all of where you can find me. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alexa, for coming on the show. This was really fun.
Thank you. Yeah, this was so much fun.
Thanks so much for listening to the end of the show. Subscribe to Vermont Talks on your favorite podcasting platform. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all over the web. Contact Becca at vermonttalks.com if you'd like to be interviewed or if you know someone who should be. Thanks so much to Jason Baker for creating the show music. The views and opinions expressed by the guests are those of the individuals and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Vermont Talks. Any content or statements provided by our guests are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, anyone, or anything. And that's what was new in the 802. Have a great day.